What's happening, guys? SmartHelping.com here. Got a new mic. Don't know if it sounds any different, but hopefully it's better. My old one was getting shredded. I had part of the metal on the wire showing. It was shocking me, and so it's time for a new one. But today I've got a business performance tracking template. It's going to be free. You can download it in the description box. No problem. I'll just have the Google Sheets or the Google link to it, which you could download it directly to Excel from there. So basically, this is the type of work. This is a representation of a lot of the type of work that I do for clients in the automated and tracking category of my uh, service or skill set service. So not everybody, not all my clients do this, but anybody that's trying to track their business performance. Generally, this is something, something along these lines or what happens. So I'm going to walk you through it. We've got our data tab here. So if you're tracking anything for your business, generally you're going to have some export or data entry of the metrics that you're trying to track. Now, this can be set up in Google Sheets as well with Google Forms, so you can have people, your workers or employees enter various metrics on Google Forms, and it would go on auto-populate. Here, I just did it in Excel because Excel doesn't have that functionality, so just, I've entered some random data in here. In general, basically, if you're selling something, so it's probably got an ID or a SKU. It's got a date, maybe a second date that could be relevant, some dollar amount, also two other dollar amounts that might be relevant, and then up to three conditions here. So, I mean, databases look all kinds of different ways and have all kinds of headers, but in general, you'll have, and this, I forgot to mention, this tutorial is going to be for um, the Excel user that is not on it every single day, but uses it, once in a while and wants to kind of know what the requirements are to do proper tracking and reporting. So in general, you've got columns where all the data in each column is representative of what the column header is. And once you have that, you can have as many columns as you want, all kinds of different data. This could probably go down up to, I mean, I've done a lot of accounts payable or receivable build that had 40,000 rows, and we are doing a lot of querying, and it was fine with a regular Excel. You didn't need a Power Pivot or a SQL database or anything like that. So um, I just basically populated some data over the course of 2018, and then let's see how this data can be reported onto track. So we've got a monthly report here. It's got each month, basically you enter the first start date you want, and then it's going to track 1 month after that up to 12 months. And then you can see the formula, just sum ifs. So sum ifs is very, very common, sum ifs and count ifs with conditions. So all this is doing is you can see sum ifs column D. So it's looking at the data in column D and summing every single data point that meets all the criteria. So what's our criteria? Well, first one is the data or the data tab column B has to be greater than or equal to this date. And the data in column B also has to be less than this date. And that general structure with the sum ifs and you've got monthly dates, that's used, I can't tell you thousands of times I've used this just general formula with all kinds of conditions. So this is just doing total sales, so we're not doing any other conditions at the moment, but I'll show you how to add those. So sum ifs, you're summing if everything in D if column B is greater than that date and B is less than that date. So in essence, what we're doing is summing all of the sales for January and then summing for February. And you can just drag this, and these dates could go on for 5 years, however long you want to report, and you just keep dragging this over, and the formula will be fine. So let's look at the data here. So column B is obviously dates. So in general, This is pretty important. Your data has to have some kind of date tag to it if you're gonna do monthly reporting. Now you don't have to if you're not gonna report on a monthly basis, then you don't need it. But if you are, then obviously you need some kind of a date or a timestamp on every record. So that's important for you to get. The other row I did was sales count per month. So this is just the total sales. So same formula, but we're doing now count ifs. So it's looking at count ifs B. So it's saying any column that has a date that's greater than or equal to this or less than that will be counted. And you could do other count ifs if you wanted to filter different things. You could tag things, different uh, conditions onto that. For example, if I wanted to, in month 2, I wanted to count the total sales plus I wanted to do any only data in column H that said tall. So they're, oh, it looks like they're all tall. Let's go to short and it should update to 0. Yep, there we go. And if we drag that across, now it's only counting short. Oh, gotta lock the columns. So that's one thing with dragging, and that's easy to forget. If you're making a formula to drag over, you have to lock the columns that you're referencing. So it's checking the same column every time, obviously. So there are different numbers if you're doing short only. Originally, I think we just had no filter there, so it's just doing everything. There we go. Okay, so that's that. Next is you've got your purple. So this is an example where we want to track all the sales dollars of anything in column G that says the text purple. And you could do other variants, like if it contains a text string that has the word purple in it, there's a little bit different formula to do with that, but there's lots of functionality there. So okay, so we're to do that purple, we have it listed here, and this is actually going to pull over from our visual dashboard, and I'll show you that in a second for kind of automated reporting. But so this is counting all the sales that are linked as purple only. So if it's not purple, then it won't. And you can see this is referencing the cell that this is referencing. You can see visual L4 right here is purple. So it's saying this is purple, and these are all the sales that are purple. And you can look, if we go to month 2, you can see, which is February, we have some purple here. $2,006. Is that all of it? Yeah, so there's 2006. And the next ones we got 2600 that are purple. Let's check it. Purple for 3. Here's month 3. So yeah, oh, we got some math here. 1250, 1350. So that's 1700 or 1600, or I mean 2600. 1350 plus, let's see if I'm doing the math here. 1350 plus 2250. Oh wait, no, that's not 3. 1350 plus 1250, so it's 2000, and then 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, 16, 2600. So you can go and you can see the formula is just referencing the column B to B. It's not doing any specific range, and that is because you can just keep adding data down and down, and it will keep reporting on that. So that's generally how we did one condition here. I did another condition so you compare to different ones. Same exact formula, basically summing if the amount in D, if the dates meet, fall into the date range, and if it meets that condition on L5. Then condition 2, same exact formula, but now we're just looking at short versus tall instead of the color. So that's a new column. So we're basically just targeting this column and then adding up these based on the date. Then you can do by two conditions. So this is actually summing up any amounts in D if it falls into the the date range, here. So anything in January would be this one. February, this is going Feb 1 to the last day of the month. And then it has to actually meet this and this condition. So we're saying anything that's blue and anything that's short in these month ranges will come through here. So you can see there's only a couple that meet that, and you're gonna have to look blue, short. So these two would come through. Uh, any other things that were blue and short, here's one. So, and you can see how useful that could be if you're trying to look at your business uh, look at various uh, slicing and dicing your data in different ways to see if you have trends or things, or you want to see, what if people bought this and this and that over the course of time, were they buying it more in the beginning of the year, less in the year, or what was the relationship? So there's just all kinds of things you could do with this general structure. Then we got sales dollars by SKU and count. So this is doing the same formula as SUMIFs. Sum is the amount if the dates land between our dates up top, and then it's just doing on if column A matches the SKU here. And you can see it's locked, so it's locked. This is locked so it doesn't go over, and these are locked so it doesn't go down. And it'll just keep looking at so here it's going to look at anything in March that was sold by that had a SKU of 124A. And you can see you have as many SKUs as you want. You'd sum them up. I did some totals here, but you can see, your total sales per month and where they came from based on the SKUs. Then the count is doing the same exact thing, but we're doing count ifs. So it's just, here we made 4 sales with this, only 124B in February. And we're going over here. So now let's get to the visual. So that's a bit more interesting. So here's an example of a dashboard. So, and the most interesting one is the one by two conditions. So look at this. We can go, we got bar charts here. So I want to say, what are the total sales that were green and tall? None. Were no green and tall, really? Green, I guess all the green. Let's see if we put one to tall, what would happen? It probably should come through. Oh, there's one. So obviously green and short, they come through. You can see as I change these two, my two conditions changes. So here it's green and short. If I put it to, let's say, purple and short, that changes to purple and short. So I get that nice summary, the structure here on the date, and then I can just use that to make a nice chart. And as I change things here, the chart changes. Let's go purple and tall. Oh, there's a whole bunch. So then this is by condition 1, and it's actually doing a comparison of the sales that were purple versus the sales that were blue. We could do that versus green. We could add another filter here and do all 3 of them, and it'll show how much sales happened each month by all 3. Uh, Blue and purple's there. And that is going to affect, I set this range equal to that one box that's changing the blues to the other one. Or let's see, is that condition 1? Yeah. And then these just update, and as these update, it updates the chart. So these are also general kind of structures that you would use to build a dashboard where you change things here and it affects it over there. And you can see I've just gone by a month. You could also have dashboards where you pick the date range and it will give you a number that, sums up the things by a certain date range and this. And that does not necessarily have to be a time-based monthly chart. It could be a pie chart as well. So you can see the possibilities start growing here with what kind of reports you can make, and it's not that hard as long as you get your database structured nice and clean, and then you can do lots of kinds of reports. So this is by condition 2, so it's the same thing we just did, but it's only reporting on short and tall, which we only have 2 of them. So these are all the sales. Um, there was only short and tall, so these represent a skew or a look at the entire sales volume, and you can see what sales were short versus tall. Then we got this aggregate, so this is doing total sales dollars and count, and I did a combination. Now the combination chart in Excel, you can't do a cube or three-dimensional. You have to do a flat bar, so that's what you see here. Then we've done some data points for the count. You see the sales counts labeled here, and that is the line with the little diamond, and then the sales dollars are the bars, and you can see it overlaid against each other. So that's a combo. Now here's the pie chart. So I just did 1 year totals, so it's showing you, and these are actually referencing what's being pushed here, but you could make these their own dynamic reference if you wanted. This is just totaling them up for the year and giving you a nice pie chart, purple and blue. Here's short versus tall for the year. Then here's sales percentage by SKU per month. So you saw the SKU monthly reports over there, and you can see it's doing it by color and showing you the percentage. So this is saying, month 6 about what is it? A little $1,500 of 124B were sold, and versus 1,003 of 126C. But it's showing you the percentage of each, so it's really saying, well, how much of each were sold in each month, but first as a relative percentage rather than a dollar amount, even though the dollar amount is linked in the data. Uh, you see month 3, we've got 3 different SKUs were sold there. But that's a nice way to see how your SKU sales, how your sales are changing per various SKUs that you want to track. This is the same formula or the same chart, except for it's instead of going by month, it's just giving you the total that were done in each month. So you can see 124B had most of its sales in month 2, then month 6. So this is interesting. A lot of people don't get into this granular with the charts, but this is interesting to report on. So you have each SKU and what month, how represented each, that how much was sold of that SKU. So 126C, most of it was sold in month 3, a little bit more in month 6, 7, and it gets less and less. Everything for month or for 128C was sold in month 4, month 5. Everything 128D only sold in month 5. So you can see that's interesting. I haven't actually seen this report a whole lot, but I think it's really useful. And you can have as many SKUs you want going over, and just see how much sold of what during what times of the year. I think that's useful. Then you've got sales dollars by SKU per month. So this is doing the same idea as this one, but instead of showing percentages, it's showing you a dollar amount, and the size of the bar of each color represents the total dollar amount relative to the other ones. And then the total size of the bar, if you add everything together, would be the total sales for that month. So that's another granular chart that's pretty useful. Then we've got some pie charts. So we've got annual sales count, dollar and SKU. So this is the same as the pie charts up here, but instead of reporting by conditions, we're actually reporting by SKUs. So, we've got, SKU 124B has 15, 126C has 10, and it shows your um, count here. And the percentage is listed if you highlight it. You could also list the percentage here next to the value, and then you could put the SKUs actually in that data label too if you wanted. I just wanted to separate them. This is the same chart as this, but now we're showing the dollar amount instead of just the count. And that's it. So you can see the possibilities, and that's all this is for. And you can these last thing real quick. These drop downs I just defined in like a drop down here, so you could define what conditions you want to pick from that are represented in your data. And that's what this validation tab is. Uh, so yeah, you can see all the different ways and different things you can, dig into the numbers of your business and try to report on what has happened in the past. And maybe use that information for the future or decision making, or just tracking the performance of something that you wanted to see how it did. These could easily be, instead of by SKU, this could be by salesman, your top, six salesmen. It could be by, there's just all kinds of ways to slice and dice this, as long as you got a nice clean database. Just unlimited amounts of things you can do here, or ways to track it. But yeah, like I said, I'll put the link to this download. It's going to be free in the description box below, and you can download it and just look at the formulas and try to replicate it yourself and see how it might fit your business and your data. Now, as you know, I do work at $50 an hour, so if you have your database, or you want to figure out how to get the data that you have in a nice structured database, as well as report on it and do a lot of customizations and whatever else ideas you have, you can hire me and I will work on that for you. Uh, no problem. That's one of the things I do as a profession. Also, if you want to see more of my models, you can go to that link here. It's right in the spreadsheet. It'll also be in the description box. I have all kinds of models for different business industries that are a lot of forecasting, also tracking for, accounts payable and receivable, SaaS models, inventory tracking models, all kinds of things, and a lot of specific industry-based models. So I guess that's all I got for you. I know it's already the 7th of January. I haven't done a specific industry-based model. Those are super time-consuming, but I'm going to try and get at least one out this month, maybe two. The last one I did, let me see, what was the last one? I did, oh yeah, the barbershop, and that was in December, end of December. I did actually two. I did a fitness gym thing and a barbershop one in December. Oh, let's see, what do we do? November, an IRR, simplified inventory, Excel based. Oh yeah, November was kind of quiet. October we had to use car dealership, interest rate swap, 5-year manufacturing, template for inventory, kiosk, account. This account executive driven model I haven't had a lot of interest in, but I thought this actually has some really good logic for any business that basically has high level account salesmen, and you want to model your business revenue off of how they perform. And it aggregates their, like, if they're going to be not 100% efficient at the beginning, like their quotas, but it does a lot of cool stuff with quotas and building accounts over time. Jewelry retail store, auto repair, time tracker for auto billing, mobile. Oh, this is a big one. Recurring revenue for mobile apps and websites, janitorial. So you see, there's all kinds of models I've got at the site here, smarthelping.com. And then if you want to do my hourly service, you just go to contact here, pick however many hours you want, and go, and I'll start working on whatever you want. Okay, have a great Sunday. I'll probably watch a little football myself and hang out. If you want to hear how my weekend has been, well, it got really cold and our water froze because our heat tape, the breaker, switched off, and we had no water for like the past 4 days, but it finally came on today. So that's been a battle as well, but it's fixed itself because we turned the breaker switch on, and it took a while, but we've got water back, so hallelujah. All right, I'll see you guys later.